Hey, Mike.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Fine.
Cool.
Anyone show up yet?
Um, nope, we are right at the beginning, so we are just waiting for people to come in at the moment.
Okay. Well, do you want to hear some math and science jokes while we're waiting?
Don't we want to tell the jokes when people are actually around?
Well, I will just kind of get things warmed up here since we don't have an audience yet.
Okay.
Okay. Why is it said? Hold on.
We have 3 viewers.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Good to see everyone.
Hi. This is a good time to ask a question.
Yes, if you have any questions, any comments, please put them in the chat. We will get to them in the order that they are received.
Yep.
And I heard from a little bird that you had some jokes for us.
Yes. Okay. Why did the student get mad when his geometry teacher called him average?
Why?
Because it was a mean thing to say. Do you get it?
Average and mean, yes.
Yeah. Okay. How do you heat up in a cold room?
Well, it's R-rated, so I'm not allowed to say.
My answer is not R-rated.
Okay, what's your answer?
My answer is you go into the corner where it's always 90 degrees.
I like that. That's cool. Do you have any pie ones?
No, I should.
No pie jokes? Oh my God.
Somewhere in my head, I think I do, but I don't have any like written down ready for right now.
So how's Pickle doing? Pickle looks pretty comfortable on your shoulder right there.
Pickle looks kind of like he wants some attention, and he's biting at things, and yeah, he's being a little bit what's the word? I don't know, hyperactive. Okay, do we have a question yet, or should I tell more jokes?
No. So we have people coming in, and our first question of the day is from Chad. Is it possible to make a living off of Baccarat?
Short answer is no.
People try.
Yeah, they try all the time, but it's a waste of time to look at those history boards and trying to find the rhythm of the shoe. Total waste of time. Not only can't you make a living off of it, you can't even dent the house advantage doing that. Now, if you were to use computers to track the shoe, sometimes there is an advantage very late in the shoe on particular bets. But using a computer would be a cheating device, which would be a felony here in Nevada. And there's other ways like edge sorting, other advantage plays, but there's no way to beat Baccarat straight up.
Yeah.
The way it's meant to be played.
As a dealer, a Baccarat dealer, we would have the same players on our table every single day because that was their job. That's what they did for a living. And after watching them, I could tell you it is the most stressful thing in the entire world because you will be on a down streak, you will be losing, and your rent will be due or bills will be due, and no matter what you do, you're still going to be losing, and it's something you can't control, and it's a very scary situation to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What can I say? Bet within your means.
Yes. So our next question comes from Mr. Thirsty. What are your thoughts on the Reko blackjack count, REKO, and why is high-low the preferred count versus KO if KO is easier?
Well, I've never heard of the Rico blackjack count, but I have heard of the KO. And yeah, I think that the high-low has just been around longer, and that was the standard count by which everything else was compared to for decades. That's what I used. And then the knockout came along, and that's a lot easier to use at only a small sacrifice and power or advantage. So if someone asked me, Mike, what's a simple way to count cards? I would probably recommend the knockout.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no true count conversion. Let's go to another math joke.
Sounds good.
Why is the obtuse angle always upset?
I don't know why.
Because it is never right.
Cool.
Okay, any more questions from the peanut gallery?
We do. So our next question comes from Kat. When do you think Vegas and Laughlin will get back to almost normal?
Well, my guess is as good as anybody's. You hear, it seems like I hear something a little bit different on the news every day. Yeah, I think that a vaccine will probably not come out until early to mid 2021, and even then, everyone's going to want it, and they're going to have to. They're not going to be able to give everybody who wants it a vaccine immediately. You know, it may take months to make enough of it. So I don't think things will be back to normal until late 2021. That is my best guess, and I could be wrong.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we got a pie joke from the peanut gallery.
Oh, good.
And this is from a math test. Why should you never talk to pie? Why should you never talk to
Because it goes on endlessly, probably something like that. What's the answer?
A math test put in the answer so we could see what the answer is.
And here's another one for the audience. Okay, so yesterday, Heather said to me, I saw my math teacher with a piece of graph paper today, and I replied, she must be plotting something.
Oh my God, I love how corny these jokes are.
Okay, how about a question for me?
Here's a question from John. Is this fun with flags? And I got a question. When is the next time you're going to do fun with flags?
Okay, well, thanks for the suggestion. This is not fun with flags today, but I think I'm going to do a part 3 of that. I just need to prepare some good fun. You know, I used a lot of good stuff with the first 2 episodes, but I'm sure I can dig deep and find some more interesting trivia about flags for you. So I will promise to do that soon.
Sounds good. Now, a math test got the answer to us, and it is yes, it's because it goes on forever. You were correct.
I think that she told that one before. Okay. Here's another joke for you guys. Okay, you know what seems odd to me, Heather?
What?
Even numbers, because they can't be divided by 2 evenly.
Ba-dum-bum.
Okay, give me a question.
Actually, I got something for you. I got a memory.
Okay.
Do you remember when I asked you to put into Siri what 0 divided by 0 was?
Yeah, I've repeated that so many times to other people.
Yes, awesome. That's
maybe
funny.
I should play it.
That is funny. That's a good math one.
Okay, here we go. Siri, what is 0 divided by 0?
Imagine that you have 0 cookies, and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get? See, it doesn't make sense. And Cookie Monster is sad that there are no cookies. And your friends are sad because they don't exist. Oh wow, this escalated quickly.
Isn't that good?
I love that. Oh my God, it is so funny.
If you guys know any more funny Siri answers, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, definitely put that in the comments. I would love to see more of that.
It looks like people have something to say.
We do. We have several questions. So glad we got some questions. If you guys have any more, please put them in the chat. First one is, do you think this is a good time to visit Las Vegas right now?
To be honest, no. Although the prices are cheap, free parking, there's, you can drive up and down the strip faster. The bad side is there's no shows. There's like limited capacity at the swimming pool. And for a while, the bars were closed. I'm not sure if they've reopened or not. So to be honest, it just doesn't feel the same to me right now.
And also, too, have you been watching our local news?
Not sure what you're referring to.
We've had a lot of fights on the strip.
I'm kind of not surprised. I'm going to have to try to be careful with my words here, but because the prices are so low, shall we say, a different demographic is coming to Las Vegas that might be more inclined to fighting. And I know some people are going to find that terribly offensive, but everyone knows that it's true. So yeah, I have heard that on the news.
I think it has more to do with what's going on in this day and age. And if you guys are interested, Google it, go to YouTube, check it out. I think you could just put in like Las Vegas fights, but we've had, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 off the top of my head that I could think of. Yeah.
And who knows, maybe another part of it is that people are just kind of have cabin fever and are just frustrated from being cooped up, that maybe they're irritable and more inclined to fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of cabin fever.
Mm-hmm.
So our next question is from Chad, and this is an extension of his first one. What if you were to play a certain amount of Baccarat per day and then leave with a certain amount per day, no matter how you were doing? Could that work?
No, because what if you didn't win your certain amount per day? What if you lost everything in your pocket chasing that?
Yeah.
Nope. I mean, depending upon what your goal is and how much ammunition you have, the lower the goal and the bigger your bankroll, the higher the chances of you reaching your goal. But if you bust out, you lose much more money. But in the long run, if you do this over and over and over, millions of times, you will lose that same percentage of house edge to all the money that you bet. You just cannot fool that house edge.
Yeah, house edge is always going to be there.
Yep. Okay. Okay, Heather, you can ask me to do algebra. You can ask me to do trigonometry. You can ask me to do calculus. You can even ask me to do statistics. But graphing is where I draw the line.
Good to know.
All right. Give me another question from the peanut gallery.
This is from one of our favorites, Anne. Have you ever rode a motorcycle? What was your experience? And if not, why?
That's on my bucket list.
You've never rode one?
Well, when I was in college, somebody let me ride her motorcycle, but I didn't even know how to drive a manual transmission car at this time. So I was not familiar with the concept of a clutch. And I don't know, shall we say, I went, only so far, and then the motorcycle stalled. So yeah, riding a motorcycle is definitely on my bucket list. I don't have easy access to one, and certainly don't have a motorcycle license. But no, I would really love to ride a motorcycle across the country or something like that.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, you never know.
Cool. My friend, I had a friend, Megan, she really wanted to ride a motorcycle. So she did all the classes and everything. Like, she got really into it. And I remember her trying to lift up the motorcycle, and it was so heavy and it would just fall. And she had such a hard time just lifting it up and everything. And when she was riding along on the motorcycle, she was like, you've got to wear a helmet. Otherwise, you don't want to do it with the insects. Insects in the mouth is not a good thing. like, oh, okay, good to know.
But it seems like people don't wear those helmets that cover your whole head anymore. They just wear kind of like a bike helmet.
They want snacks.
I don't know. I think I would wear the full big thing.
I would too. Okay, so our next question. Do you have any investment strategies?
Not really. Someone asked me this just yesterday, I think. Most of my money in stocks, I would say 90% are in a S&P index fund. And I just kind of park it in there. Number one, because I don't have to worry about it, is instant diversification. And number two, just simple index funds do better than something like 80% of mutual funds. And to be honest, I think mutual funds are a little bit of a scam because they, compared to just index funds, they don't do well because of the rake. So, and I'm not saying every index fund loses to the S&P index, but as an industry, most of them do. And I think that these mutual fund managers should be embarrassed. So yeah, that's my simple strategy to investing. And I have a little bit in gold and silver, and I certainly have real estate here in Las Vegas. So yeah, my strategy is to keep it simple.
Sounds good. Next up is from Paul. If I win a slot jackpot, am I better off these days just paying the taxes up front? If I expect my standard deduction will be better compared to itemizing my losses?
Yeah, I know that if you refuse to provide a social security number, they will just deduct taxes out of it. And I don't know what percentage they deduct, but I think it's a pretty high one, like 35% or something. And because most people aren't in that tax bracket, I think that they should get the full amount and worry about the taxes when it comes time to do their income taxes.
Could you request it? If you got a jackpot, could you request that you have all the taxes taken out immediately?
Sure, you can say, I'm not giving you my social security number. And they will say, fine, we are going to, give like Uncle Sam 40% of the money and not ask any questions. And you can do that.
Is that how some people get their jackpots anonymously? I'm thinking of lotteries.
Well, lotteries, they still pay the taxes on that, but in some states you don't have to. It's not a public record who won, and so yeah, that's a different thing.
Okay. Do you want to do another math joke?
Yes. Did you hear about that oxygen and potassium went on a date?
No. How'd it go?
It went okay.
Padumpa.
Because the symbol for potassium is K.
Yep.
And oxygen is obviously O. Okay, this is one of my favorites. A photon checks into the hotel and goes to the front desk to get his keys. And the bellman asks the photon, do you need any help with your luggage? And the photon says, no, thanks. I'm traveling light.
Woo! I love these science and math jokes, and I love how corny they are.
Thanks, Heather.
Uh-huh.
All right. And by the way, audience, feel free to give me your own jokes.
Yes, please put them in the chat. Let's get a variety of them going.
Yes. Okay. Any more gambling questions?
Oh, yeah, we got a bunch.
Okay.
So this one is from Paul as well. How much do you think sports betting impacts the actual games these days, i.e. referees, players on the take? Do you anticipate it getting worse with legal betting spreading everywhere?
I think it affects gambling. It's not supposed to affect it at all. There was the there was a World Series thrown by the Chicago White Sox way back in like 1919 or something. So yeah, it has been known, I would say, especially in college sports, to throw games for the purposes of betting. But I think in professional sports, I doubt that it does. So I think that players throwing a game or shaving points when a point spread is involved, I'm sure is the exception and not the rule.
Okay.
But again, when there is cheating, no one's going to tell me about it. And frankly, I still think that the whole thing when UNLV played Wisconsin and the power went out at the very end of the game, I tend to think that was deliberate so that the people who bet on the losing team would get their money back.
Ooh.
So it basically put the people that were running this, they were basically freeloading. They were either going to win. If their team looked like it was going to win, they were going to do nothing. And if it looked like they were going to lose their bets, then they cut off power to the stadium so the game couldn't complete. Thus, all bets were no action.
Okay.
So, next question.
Next question. Do you go to new hotels and look for an advantage play or anything like that, or do you just go to check it out?
Yeah, I just go to check it out. To be honest, I don't really actually do advantage play that much. It's a lot of work, and I'm already really kind of known in casinos. I know that surveillance just sits there and watches me a lot of the time. So, yeah, I'm afraid that when a new hotel opens, I'll definitely check it out and might even write a review of it. But yeah, kind of sadly, I'm not much of an advantage player anymore. Okay. Do you have another question for me?
I do. Okay, so this is from Joel. Great job, as always.
Thank you.
Greyhound racing ends in December here in Florida because of cruelty to animals, and how many years, or because of cruelty to animals. Okay, so I think that's how it is. How many years do you think horse racing will be abolished, if ever?
I did not know that about Florida, and I say good for Florida for that. And I'm not a big animal rights expert. I think the horses get treated better than the dogs. So I think that horse racing is going to eventually die out, not because of animal rights issues, but because it's just the people that like horse racing are frankly getting old and dying, and young people aren't that interested in it. And you go to the track and you will not see many young people. It will look like you're in Laughlin. And for those who don't get the comparison, it means that you'll see a lot of elderly people. And yeah, so will there be a day when there's just absolutely no horse racing? I don't think I'll see that day, but I think that we are going to continue to see the trend that has been going for decades, where racetracks are going broke and begging the state for subsidies, and it's gradually going the way of the dodo bird.
Are states actually giving them subsidies?
Yeah, there's so many states where they legalized slots, but only at the racetracks. Like New York, for example. And yes, they do have tribal casinos there. But aside from tribal casinos, I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the slots are only at the tracks. And Aqueduct is a perfect example. That's the closest place to gamble in New York City, and you would hardly even know that it is a racetrack anymore, because the racetrack is totally dead, but they've got an enormous casino.
Wow. Well, learn something new every day.
Okay. Time for the next joke.
Good.
Two chemists go to the bar, and the first chemist says to the bartender, "I'll have a glass of H2O," and then the second chemist says to the bartender, "I'll have a glass of H2O too," and then he died. Do you get it, Heather?
Yeah, it was not water.
Right. And what is H2O2?
Oh, goodness. Knowing my luck, it'd be acid.
It is hydrogen peroxide, which is highly poisonous if you drink it.
Yeah, don't drink that. Please don't drink that.
I'll have H2O2.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Okay, but jokes seek to be funny if you over-explain them.
Well, we got a question you can over-explain. What do you think about free Bet Blackjack? Is this one of the top 5 blackjack games to play?
Full disclosure, I'm friends with Jeff Hall, who invented that game. But yeah, I really like it. It's one of the most popular new games to come along in a while. And it may be his most successful game ever. He's the one that did most of the games that have the push 22 rule. So
You did the copycat one
it's
too,
definitely
right?
one of the top 5 blackjack games to play. There can be little doubt about that. Other ones up there would be Spanish 21, Blackjack Switch, Super Fun 21. Yeah, and I'm not even sure what the 5th one might be.
He did the copycat too, as well, right? The copycat side bet, I think.
I don't remember the gist of that one.
Okay. It's in a lot of casinos right now, or it was before the pandemic. Our next question. Casinos seem to hate any advantage player or anyone with half a brain. What's the worst you've ever experienced?
Casinos have kicked me out very rudely several times. For example, I was counting cards at the El Cortez, and a floorman just came over, and I had a bet in the middle of the circle. I was playing by myself, and he goes to the dealer, "Push that back." And so the dealer would look kind of confused, but he did. And then and then the floorman just said, "Get out of here." And then I stacked up my chips so that nicely so the dealer could what's the term for it? Change them
Color up?
Yeah, color up. And the dealer and the floorman just said, "Just get out of here now. Don't do that. So, and never come back. Don't play here again." Of course, I did many times. And yeah, it's gone down kind of rudely like that. A few other times that just sticks in my mind because it was the first time I got rudely kicked out. And but most of the time, in the industry's defense, they were polite about it. Like at the Gold Coast, they were very gentlemanly. Like a guy came up in a suit and said, "We've been watching you play, and I'm afraid you're just too good for us. You're welcome to play any other game, but just not blackjack." And so I respect the way he did that. So, but yeah, I'm afraid I don't have any better stories than that because I'd like to think I'm a nice person. And if I'm not welcome to play somewhere, I won't play. I'm not going to put up a big stink about it.
You are a very nice person.
Thanks, Heather, as you are too.
Oh, thanks. So we got some comments in here. Steven is saying that he loves your dad jokes. And Steph says, "Oh, what a cute bird."
Thanks.
Now, our next question is from Sean. Asked this before about blackjack, but I still don't understand why bad players don't affect the table. When basic strategy is underpinned by making strategically the right moves to beat the dealer.
This may not satisfy you, but a random card is a random card. And when the basic strategy was designed, it assumes that there's no one else playing, that you're just playing by yourself. But simulations done by myself have shown that the house advantage is the same whether you're playing by yourself, whether you're playing with perfect basic strategy players, or you're playing with absolutely terrible players. And yes, everyone remembers the time that a bad player took a hit when basic strategy said stand, and he took the dealer's bust card. Everyone can say, "Oh, I've seen that, hundreds of times." But no one remembers the time that the bad player saved the table. And there's a thing called confirmation bias, where people remember things that conform to their own opinions about the way things work, and they don't remember them when they don't. And so that is why people get so set in their opinions. So, but this explanation may not satisfy you, but a card is a card, and the next card to be dealt doesn't think to itself, oh, I am supposed to go to Mike, or I'm supposed to go to the next player. No, it's just a card. It doesn't think, it could go to anybody. So the odds would be the same as if instead of hitting, for example, you just took a random card anywhere in the shoe. You're just going to, if that doesn't work for you, you're just going to have to trust me on it.
I got a scientific answer that says exactly the same thing, but in a scientific way. You want to hear it?
Yes.
The reason why is because of quantum mechanics. All of the cards are the same at that exact one moment in time. So they're all the same cards at once. Quantum mechanics.
Yes, like Schrodinger's cat, kind of.
Yes, exactly. And we don't know which one it is until we look at it.
Yes. Every card is every card until we see it.
Cool.
That is one way of looking at it. Okay. Why can't you trust atoms?
Why?
Because they make up everything.
I knew that one.
You should have got it then.
I should have got that. And I couldn't think of the answer. Oh my gosh. So we have a question from Anne. What is your opinion on Pete Rose not being in the Baseball Hall of Fame? And also, have you ever met him? I heard he lives in Las Vegas.
No, I've never met him. So as I recall, he got kicked out of the Hall of Fame for betting on his own games, which is highly against the rules in baseball. But Pete Rose will swear up and down that while he did this, it didn't affect the outcome of the game. That whether he bet on the Reds, whoever he was playing against, or didn't bet the game at all, I think that he will go to his grave saying that he tried his best every game. And to be honest, I think I believe him. So yeah, no one's ever asked me this before. So while I kind of think that argument carries some water, I also respect the rules for the most part, and I think that it is a good rule that if you are in professional sports, you shouldn't be at least not betting on games that you're in, and probably not betting on any at all in the same sport. So I don't, yeah. So out of just respect of the rules, I agree with the decision about him being kicked out of the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
There you go.
Do we have another joke, or you want to go into the next question?
This is my last joke. And no, this is my second to last joke. What's the fastest way to determine the sex of a chromosome?
How?
Pull down its genes.
Cool.
All right. Give me another question, Heather.
Okay. So, hello from San Antonio. My wife and I are traveling to Vegas this weekend, and we enjoy playing the poker game at the bar. Which poker game is your favorite or recommended, and do you recommend max bets?
Definitely recommend playing the full 5 coins. The denomination you choose is up to you. And the way I would play is I would just sit there and cycle through every game on the machine and go with the one with the highest return. And that could be anything. It could be jacks or better, deuces wild, bonus poker, double bonus, double bonus. You just don't know until you look at all your options. And if you don't know the returns, you would have to look them up. And so, yeah. And was there another part to that? Well, have a good time when you come to Vegas. And I know that we closed the bars here in Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as I know, they're still closed.
No, they just reopened like 2 days or 3 days ago.
Okay.
Or it was recently.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that. So,
local news. Love it.
yeah, I need to watch it more often, I guess.
So we got a question. Have either of you had any celebrity sightings in the casino?
Yeah, I get asked this, and sadly, I can't think of any.
I know a celebrity sighting. I saw you. You were in the casino. Yeah. No, as a dealer, we saw some celebrities in the casino, and they would act like normal players that you didn't like, just like everybody else. I have a really, really good Paris Hilton story from when she was drunk, but I don't think I'm allowed to tell it because it's not PG-13. But yeah, so you see celebrities sometimes.
Okay. Well, remind me to ask you for the story when we're off camera.
Okay, cool. I can't wait to tell you. Okay, so our next one. Do you think horse racing, I swear to God I could say that word, is beatable long term? And if so, what percentage ROI would it be? And what are the best bets?
Okay, first of all, the best bets are just the win, place, and show, because the rake on those is lower at only about 17%. Most tracks will rake out more, like 25% on the exotic bets. And I'm not going to sit here and say there's no way to beat horse racing, but with a 17% rake, it's really difficult. Now, a friend of mine who used to be a card counter switched over, and he swears that he's doing well with horse racing. And he never really told me his secret, but there's a particular statistic that he puts a lot of stock in, and he basically looks at that. And I know in Hong Kong, where I think that the rake is only 10%, I definitely have heard of people doing well there. But that's as far as I can take it. Horse racing is not a topic I know a great deal about. So yeah, that's about as far as I can take that one.
I could tell you one surefire strategy of winning horse racing that could only work in the 90s.
Okay, let's hear it.
So in the casino that I used to work at, we would watch this guy, and he would sit there for 24 hours, literally 24 hours, and he would sit there and write down the winner of all of the horse racing games.
Mm-hmm.
And when the casino started the loop over again, he would bet on all of those winning horses, and he would win all of them. And the casino finally caught on and kicked him out. But in the 90s, do that.
Do you know the particular name of the game he was playing?
It was horse racing in the sports book. And I was on Baccarat, and I was watching him, and I asked people what was going on. And then I heard a week later that he was arrested for cheating. So.
Well, number one, this was clearly a simulated horse racing.
No, real horses, real horse racing. I guess they had it on a loop or something.
So he was betting on old games, are you saying? Like old races?
Yeah, I guess. They had it on a loop, and it was something they normally did until people figured it out. And that guy figured it out, and then he got in trouble for it. So
yeah, that doesn't seem to me the most brilliant idea, to let people bet on a horse race that happened a long time in the past. But nevertheless, if the way you described it is how it went down, I don't think he should have been arrested. I think that he was just taking notes. And I don't think there should be a rule against that. He was just remembering stuff.
Well, the casino stopped doing it shortly after that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. Yeah, I had not heard that story.
Yep. So we got another question from Nick.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of a Baccarat player being barred?
I know in Macau they don't have a law against devices. So as I mentioned before, if you track every single card in Baccarat and then at every single bet you run through the exact remaining deck composition through a computer and loop through all the way the cards can come out, sometimes one of the bets will have a small advantage. And so like I said, this would entail using a computer. But in Macau, you're allowed to do that. They can still kick you out, but it's not a crime. So, and the casinos in Macau, I heard, were kicking people out on a daily basis doing this because there was a syndicate that just hired people on how to use this app and how to bet, and there was an endless supply of them. So, as people got kicked out, they just got replaced with new players. So I don't know if that's still going on in Macau, but here in Nevada, where there is, there's also certainly the case of Phil Ivey, who was edge sorting, and he didn't get kicked out at the time, but I'm sure he was later banned for it. Okay, but to get to the point, I've never heard of a player getting kicked out for Baccarat who was playing the game the way it is supposed to be played. Whenever a player got kicked out, there was always some sort of advantage play or cheating involved.
Or it was a personality clash. Like sometimes if the player and the floor supervisor got into arguments, they would kick people out for that reason.
Right. I would say that Baccarat wasn't the reason he was getting kicked out. But
No. Yeah, Baccarat itself. Yeah. No, he was definitely causing problems. Okay, so our next question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Next question.
If I get good at card counting or something, at what point will the casino ban my action?
It's not so much how good you are, like how much you win, but how good your act is. So a bad card counter can get kicked out after losing if he's just really obvious about it. And a good one can win a lot of money and never get kicked out if he has a good act. So it's mainly a combination of how well you can disguise your play. And there's a lot of things that go into it.
Okay, cool. Okay, next question. There may be fewer racetracks. However, wagering is done okay since over 90% of wagers are online. Note that during COVID, wagering is doing fine. So Mo the Cat just wanted to jump in there and mention that.
Okay, good point. Well taken, Mo the Cat.
Next is, if the house edge is 1% for blackjack, why is the casino hold in blackjack so much higher at 15%?
Okay, I have to explain the difference between the house advantage and the hold. So the house advantage is how much the player can expect to lose relative to the amount that he bets. So if the house advantage is 1% and the player bets $100, then the player can expect to lose $1. Now the hold is a statistic the player doesn't need to worry about. It's an industry thing. So the hold is let's say that over the course of a day, a blackjack table, let's say that $10,000 gets dropped into the box when people buy chips. And at the end of that day, let's say that the game paid out to players $8,000 in chips. So they would say the hold was 20% because of that $10,000 in the box, players walked away with 80% of it and the other 20% was profit. So why is it different? It's because when players sit down at the table and buy chips, they circulate through those chips over and over again, and the house advantage grinds you down slowly. So even though that player may have be playing in a 1% house edge, if he plays for hours and hours, he's not going to leave with 99% of his buy-in. He's going to, on average, leave with much less, again, because he's playing a long time and that house advantage is grinding him down.
Okay. Very, very good to know.
Okay, so again, players, you don't need to worry about the hold. That's just an industry thing. And frankly, I think the industry cares too much about the hold too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So our next question comes from Sean. Do dealers get in trouble when they make a mistake or pay out incorrectly?
Well, Heather, since you were a dealer, I'll let you answer that one.
Okay. So casinos realize that dealers are dealers are humans and humans make mistakes. So because of that, if you make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. Usually they'll just let you know that, you did something wrong and they'll correct you. If it's a large monetary mistake, for example, if you paid someone $10,000 when you shouldn't have and they left, yeah, you're going to get in trouble for that for sure. So it sort of just depends on the situation and what mistake was made and what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Pickle wants to add in.
I think Pickle can see his or her image on the screen there.
Oh, that's so cute. Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, I think that's why he's, but plus he's in a very bitey mood today. That's why I have to wear my glove.
He's saying hi to everyone.
My final joke.
Cool.
Okay. A mathematician comes into a bar. No, wait, let me start over. An infinite number of mathematicians go into the bar. The first one orders one beer. The second one says, I'll have half as much as the first guy. And then the third one says, I'll have half as much as the previous guy. And then they go on, each one ordering half as much beer as the previous guy. And then the bartender, after so much of this, just pours 2 beers and says, you guys don't know your limits.
Nice.
Thanks.
I like that. So shall we go back to another question?
Yes.
Cool. So this is from Ryan. I play the don'ts in craps. I don't lay on the 6 and 8, sometimes 5-9, max on the 4 and 10. I also hedge against a hard 4 and 10 when I do this. Am I giving up too much not laying the 6 and 8? The hard 4 and 10 hedge, is that good?
Okay. In general, I'm not big on hedging. I like that you're playing the don't. Buying or laying on the numbers directly is okay. The house advantage definitely goes up from just making line bets directly. But absolutely never bet the hard ways. They carry a house advantage of 9% to 11%. So you definitely get the finger wagging of the wizard for that one.
Okay. Good to know. Next one, it's the question you get a lot. Is dice control real, and have you seen anyone good enough to consistently win in craps?
Yeah, about the 1,000th time. I'm very skeptical of dice control or dice influence. And I have gone out there to observe people doing it, and I saw those dice bouncing all over the table, and I left very skeptical of it. I've yet to see anyone present me any proof that it's possible. Not even proof that could be easily faked, just no evidence at all. And the other side will probably say, well, Mike, the people that are actually doing this would be a fool to actually show you the proof because they want to keep it quiet. But nevertheless, I'm still skeptical. I think there's much more money to be made writing books about dice influence and selling classes and DVDs about it. But the number of people who I'm aware of that have made money consistently doing dice control is 0.
Yeah, they're not so secretive when they try to sell their classes and their books and all that. thing.
Yep.
Okay. So our next one. Have you ever gone kicked out or banned from a casino?
Well, as I was just saying, I've never been 86'd or trespassed. I have been told to leave, but in an informal way, such as the El Cortez story I just told. And yet at the Pepper Mill in Reno, it went down in kind of a similar way. But yeah, never formally trespassed. I think you really need to be kind of belligerent for it to come down to that. And I am not a belligerent person. So yeah, that's about all I can say about that one.
Okay. Next one. Have you ever seen a guy bring a bunch of good-looking women at the blackjack table in order to throw off the dealer?
I know that's a common trick in doing cheating moves. Is to bring in, hot women who tend to bend over and just draw a lot of attention to themselves to distract the dealers. And have I personally seen that with my own eyes? No. But yeah, I do know that it's a good distraction, and it's probably used more in the case of with cheating than an advantage play.
Yeah, and as a dealer, I've seen that type of distraction before, but more on an extreme level. Mm-hmm. They actually had women topless walking around. So yeah, they got everyone's attention.
How come they never do this when I'm in the casino?
You missed it all. And it was more than once. It wasn't just like one time. And like I have several topless women stories. Our last question is from Ryan. And he just wants to clarify, I am not laying the numbers, just the odds on the point. I feel the 6 and the 8 is too close and has a high variance. Should I lay odds on every point since I have the advantage?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I misunderstood the question. Okay. So, yeah, as long as you're sticking to just line bets and taking the full odds on them, whether you're buying or laying the odds, it doesn't matter mathematically how many times you do this. That is something that you can decide for yourself. The house advantage is the same either way. So personally, I like to make a lot of pass or don't pass bets. Sometimes I will make one on every single throw. Sometimes once I have covered like 3 or 4 numbers, I'll stop. Kind of depends on my mood. But again, mathematically, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay. Where's Pickle?
He is on my lap. Here he comes.
Awesome. Now, we got a joke from the Peanut Gallery. This is from Mo the Cat.
Okay.
So here's the joke. A mad mathematician buys a lottery ticket for $1. The jackpot is 500,000. He figures his odds at 20 million to 1. So he rips up his ticket. Unfortunately, that's the whole thing. Mo the Cat, where's the rest of it? By the way, hi Wayne.
I guess I don't get it.
That's because I think that he didn't write it all. I think that's not all of it. Here, we'll do a question while we're waiting.
Okay.
Is it possible for the casino to forget or miscalculate when you pay back a marker? Or like, let's say if the player was really drunk. And is there any recourse?
I've never heard of this. I mean, any kind of mistake is possible, but I know casinos are real serious when it comes to markers. And yeah, I've never heard of that happening, but it probably has, but I'm sure it's extremely rare.
Okay. And we got a question from Wayne. Do you do math consulting, and how can people reach you to hire you?
I do. You can go to Wizard of Odds and click contact, and then I would, in the menu, I would select I have a gambling question, and then you can reach me that way, and it will get to me.
Okay, sounds good. So that's it for questions, and we are all out of jokes. When is the next time we're going to see you do a live stream?
Yeah, how about next week?
Sweet. Looking forward to that.
Okay, me too.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks, Heather, for producing this, and thanks, audience, for all your questions and participation and showing up.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And always love the dad jokes, the science jokes, the math jokes. I love the dad jokes.
Thanks. Okay.
And remember, if you're watching, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up.
Thanks for reminding me, Heather.
You're welcome.
Okay. See you next week.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.